So it has a Brew. Time to talk Xbox, pretty much. I was going to do roundup of E3, but to be honest, the Xbox One and what's going on with that, and the PR nightmare that Microsoft had, I think that pretty much takes precedent. There's loads of games that have come out, and I could just cover that, but to be honest, I don't really want to have it go on for half an hour, like my last video, which was on WWDC. A lot of people asked me to do half-an-hour videos, and I didn't really want to do them because they take a lot of time to A, record, B, edit together, C, render, and D, upload. So I don't, and hardly anybody watches them, so I'm going to try and keep them less than half an hour, because by a lot less, like 50 minutes, because nobody watches them. I know you guys really want half-an-hour stuff, and I will create half-an-hour content, but it's a lot more work for half-an-hour stuff, so I'm going to try and keep it to 50 minutes. But anyway, E3, Xbox One, basically, Microsoft are trying to, well, are putting the wool over their own eyes, thinking that what they're doing is correct, and not really thinking about the consumers. So, if you don't know, basically, what's going on with the Xbox One is there's always online DRM. Well, it's always online. You have to connect to the internet every 24 hours or else you can't play games. Which essentially means always online DRM, and there's a few other bits that Microsoft are saying, well, there's this feature within it that means you can't trade your game more than once, but we're gonna let the publishers decide that, which is a stupid idea for a start. And stupidly, Don Mattrick, not only is he an effing idiot, but he said this during a game trailers interview.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't, like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device. I mean, seriously, when I read the blogs and thought about who's really the most impacted, there was a person who said, hey, I'm on a nuclear sub.
Right.
And I don't even know what it means to be on a nuclear sub, but I've got to imagine that it's not easy to get an internet connection.
Probably not playing Call of Duty multiplayer on the sub.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, I can't empathize where if I was on a sub, I'd be disappointed.
So as you can see, Don Mattrick's basically saying, stay with 360 if you don't like it. If you like Xbox and you want to not worry about always online and DRM, just use the 360. Which is really, basically Microsoft is the new EA, and the trouble is they did it with Windows 8. They were very militant, and they sort of said, right, this is the way we're going to do the platform, which is fair enough. Like, fine, do the platform like that. If you want to go for it and try it out, brilliant, fine, fantastic. It worked out quite well for them. And in actual fact, say Windows 8 actually shipped quite a few units, and it's quite and it's sold quite a lot, and not only just through laptop manufacturers, but through upgrades anyway. And it's done reasonably well, considering all the hate that it got. And personally, for me, I think it's brilliant. I think Windows 8 is fantastic. But the Xbox One, it's not the same. They're trying, they're pretending that always online DRM and always being connected to the internet is good for the gamer, which is a load of bullshit. It's not. That's not the reason they're doing it, and it's not good for the gamer on several levels, because if you've got a shitty internet connection, you can't use the cloud properly anyway. I mean, it's brilliant you can use cloud saving and all these other cloud-based things, but it doesn't mean you have to have it on all the time. Like, you can disable that shit, like you currently have with the Xbox 360. You have that feature there, but you can disable it, and I mean, basically, because what all they're after is to counteract this BS called piracy, which doesn't really exist in the console market, and exists a little bit, but not enough for them to worry about it. So I don't really know, it's just ridiculous. One of the things that really gets me annoyed and irritated, and it'll be interesting to see how it works out for them, is that under EU and UK law, both case law and in actual physical law, you can't stop people selling games. So if you buy a game, you buy the license for that game, and you can sell that game on. By law, by UK law and by EU law, you have the right to sell games on. So if you have that right, Microsoft can't turn around to you and say, oh, you can't sell that game on or whatever. And there's been a few cases with a few games that have come out that have been DRM, and basically they're tied to your account, and the people have taken them to court, and basically they've won. Most of the time they've won. It depends upon several things, but generally it doesn't matter what it says in the EULA, because the EULA is a lot of bullshit. What the law says matters, and if Microsoft are going to try and ride that train, they'll get a massive fine from the EU, because the EU love fighting Microsoft, they really do. Not so much Apple, which is quite funny. They love fighting Microsoft for really stupid, petty things, and no doubt the EU will fine them for this, because I don't think Microsoft will stop you if you protested it, if you said, I'm going to sell this game, and if you don't let me do that, I'm going to take you to court. I don't think they'd protest it, but I think the majority of people don't understand the law properly, and therefore wouldn't necessarily know that actually by EU and UK law, you do have the right to sell games, even if it is locked to your account. Steam games, that's a little bit of a grey area as well, because you're licensed a game, and you can trade games, but I'm not too sure how it works with the law, because I don't think there's been any cases where people have wanted to sell their games to a friend or something like that, and it's not worked for them. I don't think that's ever happened, because generally people accept Steam for what it is, and to be honest, I do as well. I mean, I don't, because I buy a game and that's it. I mean, console is a little bit different. I mean, PC, we've always had it where basically once you used it, that's it. You have it there on your system, and unless you're talking about old PC games, once you've got it, that's it. You can't trade it, you can't send it on, and that's fine. I mean, we kind of accept that as a community anyway, because most of the time we keep our games, because, you know, there's lots of times we like having, geeks like us like having, well, at least me anyway, I like having big game libraries. Even if I don't play on most of my games, it's just like a thing I like having a big game library, because it means in the future, if I'm bored or whatever, I could think, oh, I can play Age of Empires 3, which is a fucking amazing game anyway, but, you know, or like Command & Conquer 3, or straying any old, like, I don't know, Call of Duty 2, or which actually I don't know what the hell that is anymore. Red Alert, for instance, as well. Red Alert, just trying to think what's the versions, but you know, Allied Assault, things like that. You know, really, really cool old games that I've still got and I still play once in a while, and that sort of stuff. Console games, because, and this was the other thing that. Who is it that was saying this? Oh yeah, Warren Spector, of course. Warren Spector, brilliant. If you don't know who Warren Spector is, GTFO, look him up. He created some. He's like a game maker. He makes some fantastic games, Deus Ex and things like that. I've got a lot of time for Warren Spector. He does talk a lot of sense. At the same time, he talks a lot of bullshit. But this time around, he does talk a lot of sense. Basically saying you don't have to worry about used games if game prices were cheaper, and that's so true, because especially in the console market, there's no way in hell as a PC gamer I would pay 40 quid or 45 quid, which is like $60 US, 60, well, yes, it is $60 US for a game that's just outrageous. Why the fuck would you pay that much for a game? There's no way in hell I'd pay that much for a game. The maximum I've ever spent on a PC game is 35 quid, and I think that might have been for BF3 when that first came out. I'm not too sure. Actually, I don't think that was even that expensive. I think that was $29.99, because I pre-ordered it way back. I think the current pre-order for BF4 might be 35 quid, but basically PC gamers pay about 30 quid for it, because they don't have to worry about licensing. Whereas the likes of and I think this is why games are so expensive, because the likes of Activision will have to pay Microsoft a license fee to be able to put their games on that platform. And I know they've got to pay for things like infrastructure, and I know that, you know, I'm not going to be one of those militant idiots that doesn't know what the fuck gaming's all about. I know about infrastructure, I know about the fact they've got to have servers, but the whole point is you create extra things like DLC to get people to pay for that service. And to be honest, I'm a great advocate of pay for services. Like, I know a lot of people don't like it because it means you have to like pay X amount every month to play a game. But if it means I get a better service out of it, I'd much rather pay, you know, what, 5-10 quid a month to play Battlefield 3. I would pay to play Battlefield 3. Seriously, I would. I'd pay 5-10 quid a month to play Battlefield 3 easily. If it means I get a better experience out of that, I would definitely. And I mean, that's not how it currently is, but you know, that's how I would definitely do that as a gamer. And I know a lot of the 12-year-old console idiots. I'm going to say that because that's the majority of what from my experience anyway. You always get these 12-year-old faggots who are just shouting at you down the end of the mic, going, "Ooh, your mum jokes" and all this other crap. It's just like, shut up, mate. Shouldn't you be in school? But yeah, and basically, yeah, Warren Spector was saying that used games are too expensive. Reduce the price. Used games, new games are too expensive, which is why used game market exists. Reduce the price of your new games. Used game market won't exist. People will keep their games. You'll have more sales, better sales. He's right. That's completely true. If you reduce the price of them, you'll have more sales. But they don't seem to get that as a concept. And this is just the media industry in general, anyway. They don't get that if you charge people less, you get, or you give people freedom, they're going to buy your product. They really are. It's the same with piracy. Like, The Independent have done a survey on it. I think The Guardian have done a survey on it. Quite a few independent companies have done surveys on pirates, and they spend more money on media and content. And that's how it is, because pirates look at will try something out, and if they like it, they'll give something back, and that's the whole point. Yeah, you get the odd people that will just, take and take and take, and that's always going to happen. But generally, people will, if they like something, they'll give money back. They'll give money to the developers. They'll give money to the company, and especially if the company doesn't dick them around, aka EA, because EA dicked around. If you don't dick them around, they're fine. They're going to give you as much money as they want. So it's just insane, really. But yeah, this was my full rant mode gone, really. It'll be interesting to see how the Xbox One pans out as a platform. But I don't think at the moment it's a good idea. I mean, I kind of see where they're coming from. It's a good concept. I like the idea that you can control everything in one box. And Warren Spector, this is one thing I don't agree with what Warren Spector said. He said that he didn't like the fact that the Xbox One is an all-in-one entertainment system. No, I think that's wrong, because he was saying that, I've got so many devices I can do all-in-one entertainment on. Why the fuck would I need a games console to do that as well? Because the games console is the forefront of home entertainment, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, I would say most people, a lot of people have Xboxes and PlayStations, don't they? So because they already have that device, and usually they play media through it as well. So because they already do that, what's the point of having like a WD Live or an Apple TV when you've got Netflix, Lovefilm, Hulu, all those things on that device, without having to worry about another device, or having to worry about a smart TV or whatever, because smart TVs are generally crap anyway. So what, because it's a live and it's always an ever-changing platform. So because of that, you've got apps, you've got all these funky things you can use as as a great platform. But say at the end of the day, the thing that lets it down is always online DRM, and that I mean, Don Mattrick is an idiot and said, it's change. We really like the passion of the community and all this other bullshit. It's just like, no, Don, you don't care, because if you did care, you'd listen to the community and you'd actually, hear what they're saying. If you can't get access to the internet, you can't play Xbox One. What the fuck is that all about? I mean, I know, like, SimCity got a lot of hate, and I kind of understand why it did. But the whole point of SimCity was that it was supposed to be an online experience. EA stupidly decided, as opposed to going with the old way of SimCity, was to create this social experience, which is good, but it being always on at the time is like a pain in the ass. And it's still a good game, IMO. I think it's a great game. Definitely worth going out and getting it. I think you can get 15 quid on Origin sales at the moment. Origin are having sales as well, by the way. As much as I hate Origin, there's some really, really good deals going around, so check that out. Check it on the Origin client, because I can't quite remember. I might try and find a link of how you can get to it if you haven't got Origin installed, but definitely go and check that out. But yes, I'm not going to go and get an Xbox One just yet. I'm not actually going to get a new next gen quote unquote console just yet. Even if I do, because I've got an Xbox 360 which I don't use. It's gathering dust at the moment. It's pretty much an entertainment system. That's all I use it for. I don't use it to game, really. I use it to play Call of Duty once in a blue moon. I use it for Netflix, not Netflix, Lovefilm, 4OD, iPlayer, things like that, like catch-up TV. And yeah, I don't really use it for much else. So I'm probably not going to go and get a next-gen console. I mean, it depends upon whether or not, like, things like Tom Clancy's Frontier comes... Is it Frontier? Frontier, the indefinite, what it's called. The Division. It depends on whether the Division's going to come to PC or not. I hope it bloody well does, because it needs to. I think most Tom Clancy games have, so... I think Rainbow Six it didn't? I can't remember now. But yes, Xbox One is... It's a great concept, but it's just not thought out well enough. It's just, it'll be interesting. Let's put it that way. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think it will go anywhere. I know the Microsoft share price is you know, is all over the place at the moment. As the thing is, the Apple share price, I'm not too sure. I have to double check that, and I'll put the graphic up there, basically showing all the share prices of the past couple of days since WWDC and also since E3. But I think that's pretty much it. The only thing extra to say is I'm actively looking at getting dual commentaries getting people on, either both physically, not necessarily at my place, but say like a coffee shop or something like that, and recording some YouTube shit, having really interesting conversations with some people all over the country. So if you're interested, maybe you're in the area or whatever, or maybe you just want to meet up, whatever, I'm quite happy to do that. I'm actually looking to maybe get some Skype calls, conference calls with some really interesting people with the community, and actually just have proper conversations about gaming, about geekery, about all sorts of really funky things. So if you're interested in that, hit me up, send me an email, azzychill@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter at azzychill. I probably won't get any interest, but I'm just going to ask anyway. Also, when I hit 200 subscribers, I'm also going to do a giveaway. I'm going to give away a fat-ass Sports Direct mug. I'm not going to endorse Sports Direct, but they do make massive fuck-ass mugs. And I'm also going to give away a copy of Avengers, because I've got a spare copy of that, and I might give away something else as well. But anyway, I think that's it. I'm gonna do a few more series. I'm gonna try and create a server series. Getting interested in Windows Server 2012, etc., etc. So that'll be coming at some point, hopefully this week, but I'm not too sure. There's a few other bits and pieces I want to try and do as well. But anyway, apart from that, I shall catch you in a later video.